I wasn't always the quiet type, but after 42 years of marriage, you learn to pick your battles. You fold the laundry even when he tosses it on the chair instead of the hamper. You smile through holidays with his loud, opinionated cousins. You nod when he tells the same tired joke in front of your friends. You let a lot slide until you see your name being erased. That Sunday morning started like any other. The man, my husband Earl, was sitting at the kitchen table in his ratty bathrobe, scrolling through his phone like always, as if the thing owed him rent. He grunted something about the coffee being too strong, which, for the record, he always says when he makes it himself. I didn't even argue. I just smiled and sipped mine. He got up for a second, probably to go yell at the dog for sniffing his slippers again, and that's when I saw it, the red folder. Now, let me tell you something. In 42 years, Earl has never touched a colored folder in this house. He's allergic to anything that looks like paperwork. So the fact that this bright red folder was open right next to his coffee cup? My gut tightened. And what do I see inside? A filled-out quitclaim deed form, with my name removed from the title of our house. Let me repeat that. The house I bought with my inheritance from my mother in 1989. The house we raised 3 kids in. The house we survived that flooded basement in 97 and that electrical rewiring nightmare in 2003. The house I paid the taxes on every damn year while he was between jobs. That house. And there was my husband trying to claim it under his name only. You see, what Earl seemed to have forgotten, and this is the part that almost made me laugh right then and there, is that I work at the county records office. Have been for 27 years. Every single property transfer in this town, it crosses my desk or the desk of someone I trained. And this fool, God bless him, was going to walk in and file a fraudulent deed at the very office I practically run. Like I wouldn't find out. Let me tell you what I did. I quietly slipped the folder closed, made a mental note of the date on the fake signatures he'd even tried to scribble mine, laughable, and put it right back where I found it. Earl came back, mumbled something about the dog needing to go on a diet, and I just nodded and said, "Ahem." The rest of the day, I cooked his dinner, folded his shirts, and asked about the Cowboys game, like any other Sunday. But that night, I stayed late after work, called in a little favor, checked the upcoming deed filing appointments, and there it was, Tuesday, 11:15 a.m. Mr. Earl T. Dawson. Set by him. No co-owner listed. No spouse. No me. Oh, honey, I didn't cancel the appointment. I made sure I'd be the one sitting at that front desk, in full uniform, with my badge. And when I tell you I couldn't sleep that Monday night, not out of anger, but out of sheer anticipation, believe me, it was like Christmas Eve and I was 8 again, waiting for Santa. Tuesday morning came, and I was dressed sharp. Navy slacks, pressed blouse, my official county badge clipped right above my heart. I even put on a little lipstick, shade Quiet Fury, not because I needed to impress anybody, but because when you're about to let a man hang himself with the rope he brought, you might as well look good doing it. I got to the office around 8:45, earlier than usual. Didn't speak much to anyone except a quick good morning. I had already arranged to be covering the front desk that hour. Said the receptionist had a dentist appointment, which she didn't, but bless her for letting me borrow her slot once I explained everything. At exactly 11:13 a.m., the automatic door chimed, and there he was, Earl Dawson, my husband, walking in with that false confidence he usually wore when he thought he'd gotten away with something. He had on that blue button-up I bought him for our 40th anniversary, the one he said made him look like a man who owns property. Oh, the irony. He didn't recognize me at first. Crazy how men can live with you for decades and still be blind to the fire building behind your eyes. Name? I asked without lifting my eyes from the appointment list. Earl Dawson, he said. I have a deed to file. Voice cool, like this was a normal Tuesday. I looked up slowly, and when our eyes locked, the color drained from his face like someone had pulled the plug on his soul. I smiled real slow. That kind of smile a woman only earns after surviving 4 decades of unpaid emotional labor and sneaky betrayal. I watched him stutter. "J. Joyce, what are you?" I interrupted, professional as ever. "Please have a seat, Mr. Dawson. I'll be handling your deed transfer today." He didn't move. "Have a seat," I repeated, this time softer, like I was daring him. He sat. I pulled the red folder he left on the kitchen table out of my drawer and placed it neatly on the counter between us. "You left this at home," I said. "Figured you'd need it." Now, let me tell you something about Earl. He's always been smooth with words. Always had an excuse, a story, a twist. But in that moment, he sat there like a toddler who'd been caught stealing from the cookie jar with crumbs all over his mouth. I wasn't gonna. "Joyce, you're taking this the wrong way," I said, calm as ever. "You tried to remove me from the deed on the home I paid for, forged my signature, and scheduled an appointment to make it legal. The only thing you didn't do was check who runs this office." He started to fumble with his hands. "I was going to tell you. It's just after retirement, with everything being joint and—" "Don't lie to me," I said. "Not here. Not after 42 years. Don't insult me on top of what you already tried." He went quiet. Now here's the part one enjoyed. I pulled out my folder. Inside was every document he forgot existed. Our original deed from '89, the updated title with both our names, my mother's notarized inheritance statement, and a little bonus, a notarized letter from our eldest daughter, who just so happens to be a real estate attorney. She'd helped me prepare something special. I slid a sheet across to him. "This is a cease and desist order regarding any further attempts to alter property documents tied to my name. Filed and signed this morning. Any move you make from here gets reported straight to the county sheriff's office." He blinked, and blinked again. "Joyce, why are you doing this?" "Oh, I don't know," I said, folding my hands. "Maybe because I was too good to you for too long. Maybe because I let you take up space in my life and this home thinking loyalty meant silence. Or maybe because I finally remembered who the hell I am." I leaned forward. "And just so you know, Earl, I'm not done yet. Because the next steps, they're going to make him wish all he lost was a house." You'd think that after being caught red-handed trying to erase his own wife from the deed to their home, a man might retreat quietly, reflect, apologize, maybe even do the dishes without being asked for once in his life. But not Earl. No, Earl did what men like him always do when their little schemes go belly up. He sulked, stomped around the house like a teenager who'd just had his car keys taken, barely spoke to me for 2 days, which was honestly a gift. The silence was like a spa retreat for the soul. Then, on Thursday night, he started making noise again, clanking pots, slamming drawers, calling out, "Joyce, where's my green folder?" Like I was still playing secretary in this mess. I just sat on the couch, legs crossed, flipping through an old photo album. He walked past me twice, didn't look me in the eye, but I could feel the tension buzzing off him like a faulty socket. He knew something was coming. He just didn't know how deep the roots ran. Because what Earl didn't realize, what a lot of men forget, is that while they're busy planning their betrayal, women are listening, watching, storing things in invisible filing cabinets they don't even know exist. I'd known about Carla for 3 months. He called her his lunch buddy, some woman from his volunteer shift at the VFW who liked talking about classic cars. I didn't think much of it at first. Hell, I was glad he had someone else to ramble to about carburetors and rust. Until he started wearing cologne on Tuesdays. Until he came home with his shirt tucked in tight and that same damn grin he used to give me back in the day when he wanted something more than dinner. So I looked through his truck the night he fell asleep watching a ball game. His phone charger was plugged into the console, and the passenger seat had that slight indentation like someone else had been riding in it regularly. Then I found the receipt. A wine bar in Nashville. One of those live jazz and small plate places Earl used to roll his eyes at. Except now he was apparently buying oysters and 2 glasses of Pinot Noir for lunch. So I got smart. I boxed up the receipt, the restaurant's promotional card, which was tucked inside our mailbox, probably slipped in by her, and a printed copy of his email where he scheduled that little deed appointment behind my back. And I mailed it, with no return address, to Carla's place of work. You see, people talk when they're flirty. And Earl, big dummy that he is, once bragged to a neighbor that Carla worked at a dentist's office across town, the one with the big glass windows and the massage chairs. Took me 10 minutes to find it. One call to a friend who still works reception for the dental board, and boom. Carla, 58, office manager. Divorced twice. Known for wearing high heels and dating silver foxes. Perfect. I timed it just right. Mailed the envelope on a Friday afternoon, so it would arrive by Monday. No note, no threats, just the receipts. Then I waited. The following Tuesday evening, right around 6:40 p.m., I heard Earl's phone ring. I was upstairs folding towels. I didn't eavesdrop. I didn't need to. All I heard was, "What? Wait, what are you talking about?" Silence. Then, "Carla, no, listen. That's not what, no, she's just being. You didn't have to call me at work about. No, don't hang up. Carla, hello." Click. I came downstairs like I hadn't heard a thing. He was just standing there in the living room. Phone still in his hand, eyes hollow. "You okay?" I asked. He turned to me, unsure if I was clueless or cutting. "Did you say something to Carla?" I smiled like the innocent old lady I no longer had to be. "Who's Carla?" He didn't answer. He just stood there for a moment, then went to bed early, alone. And that night, I slept better than I had in months. But this isn't the end. Not yet. You ever sit across from someone and realize, after decades of marriage, that you were never really married to them at all? That's how I felt the day I walked into my attorney's office. Gray skies outside, hot coffee in my travel mug, and Earl's betrayal packed neatly in a folder with plastic sheet protectors. My daughter Stephanie had put me in touch with a woman named Janine Sanders, a straight-talking divorce lawyer out of Murfreesboro who wore smart suits and had a face that said, "Don't try me." First time we met, she didn't even flinch when I told her my husband was trying to steal the house out from under me. She just said, "Do you want him to leave with anything or nothing?" And I said, without hesitation, he can have his tools and his jazz CDs. That's it. Janine smiled. Good. Because based on what you've shown me, we can do better than fair. We can do clean. Now, Earl never thought I'd have the nerve. He still saw me as the quiet, church-going woman who ironed his shirts and reminded him to take his blood pressure meds. He didn't think I had it in me to go full legal. But what he forgot was I've seen hundreds of property transfers come across my desk, and I've watched enough bitter couples walk into that office thinking they could rewrite history. I'd taken notes. I'd learned from their mistakes. And I wasn't about to make the same ones. I filed the divorce petition quietly. Did it at the county next door where nobody knew my name and I could be just another woman doing what needed to be done. I used the same pen Earl left sitting on the kitchen counter, the one he used to sign that forged deed draft. It felt symbolic, like closing the loop. Then I had Janine freeze the house deed using a lease pendens notice. That's legal speak for, you can't sell, refinance, or transfer squat until this divorce is settled. I had it placed by noon on a Friday. By 4 p.m., my phone buzzed with an alert. Inquiry on deed, Earl Dawson. He'd tried to pull something again, probably to fix his little mishap or cover his tracks. Too late. The county denied it on the spot. The next morning, I sat Earl down at the kitchen table. Same one we bought with our first tax refund back in 1985. I placed the notice and the petition in front of him, and I said, "You don't live here anymore." He stared at me like I'd started speaking Latin. "I already signed. You'll get served formally Monday morning. But I thought you deserved to hear it from me first." He looked at the papers, then at me. "You're divorcing me over a misunderstanding?" he croaked. I laughed. Not loud, just enough. Sweetheart, a misunderstanding is when you forget to take the trash out. What you did was a full-blown betrayal. This house? It's mine. That pension we both contributed to? I've got the receipts. The lawyer? Already paid in full. And then I slid over a small list, 3 items. The name of a motel he could stay at for the next 30 days. A note about where I packed his things, garage, right side, next to the tool bench. A reminder not to let the door hit him on the way out. He didn't say much, just kind of sat there, blinking like someone had pulled the plug on his ego. Then he stood up slowly, muttering something under his breath about regret and just trying to protect his assets. I let him go on, and when he walked out that front door, carrying his duffel bag like a man walking into a future he didn't plan for, I didn't cry. I didn't gloat. I just sat back in that kitchen chair, stared at the deed now sitting safe and untouched on my counter, and whispered to myself, justice feels a lot like peace. But Earl wasn't done, and neither was I. My 69th birthday was a quiet one. No balloons, no family trip, just a pot, roast, slow cooking in the crock pot, and a voicemail from my daughter Stephanie, promising she'd be by later with my grandkids, and that ridiculous lemon pound cake I can't stand but pretend to love. I was folding towels in the laundry room when I heard the knock. Not the doorbell. A knock, slow, uncertain, like someone wasn't sure if they even deserved to be standing there. And when I opened the door, there he was, Earl, wearing the same beige jacket he'd worn on our first date in 1976, holding a battered cardboard box in both hands, like it contained something fragile, something holy. For a second, I'll be honest, I forgot everything. I forgot the forged deed, the secret emails. Carla, I just saw the man I'd built a whole life with, standing on my porch like a memory. Happy birthday, Joyce, he said, his voice soft, shaky, like he was suddenly small in a world he used to tower over. I thought maybe I could give you this. He held out the box. I didn't take it, but I didn't slam the door either. I stepped aside and let him in, not because I forgave him, but because I was still human, still curious, still vulnerable. The box was full of things I hadn't seen in decades. Our wedding invitation, old Polaroids from our first Christmas in the house, a napkin from the diner where we used to get pie after church, even a dried rose from the bouquet he gave me the day Stephanie was born. Tears came before I could stop them. He sat on the couch beside me, not close, but near enough that I could smell the same cologne he used to wear when we were young and trying. I messed up, he said. I got scared. About the future. About money. About being alone. I didn't say anything. I thought if I handled the house, at least I'd have security. I wasn't trying to hurt you, Joyce. I swear I wasn't. I looked at him, really looked at him. He had aged. The man in front of me wasn't the slick schemer who tried to erase me from our marriage. He looked more like a tired boy who finally realized the consequences of what he'd lost. And Lord help me, my heart softened for just a second, until I remembered something my mother used to say. When someone shows you who they are twice, don't wait for the third time to believe them. I appreciate the gesture, I said, steadying my voice. But a box of memories doesn't undo what you tried to do. You didn't just hurt me, Earl. You tried to erase me. His face tightened. His soft sadness evaporated in an instant. The shift was like a cold wind blowing through a room. So that's it, he snapped. 42 years, and you're going to let a mistake define everything. Mistake, I said, rising to my feet. A mistake is leaving the oven on. You filed paperwork behind my back. You planned to throw me out of my own home, and you were whining and dining another woman while I folded your socks. His hands balled into fists. You always did hold on to things too long, and you never held on long enough. That was it. I walked to the front door, held it open, looked him dead in the eye. Happy birthday to me, Earl. Now leave, and don't ever come back. He didn't move at first. just stared at me like he was trying to remember if I'd ever been this strong before, or if he just never noticed. Then he picked up the box, slowly, and without another word he walked out. I closed the door behind him, locked it. Then I leaned against it and let the tears fall, not for him, but for the woman I used to be, the one who would have begged, the one who would have listened. But she's gone now, and in her place stands a woman who knows her worth. Finally, that night, I sat alone in the living room with a cup of tea and the deed to the house resting on the table beside me. My name on it, mine alone.